the best teams. We don't really need to spend time or like an extended amount of time debating who's going to make the playoffs. We both agree. I think I'm going to read your mind on this. Miami Heat, they're in.
Yep,
Go ahead and say that they're in.
they're in.
I mean, they got they didn't make any big moves though. Before like they what 2 years ago they got who did they get 2 years ago?
Battier,
They got Battier.
and then
Last year they
Allen.
got Ray Allen,
Yeah,
which are like not only quality players, but they're like character guys
right.
and
And
veterans.
they're playoff players. They're guys that'll give you something in the playoffs.
Yeah. And this year they kind of went the complete opposite side of the spectrum, and they go
Couple wild
Michael
cards.
Beasley and Greg Oden's corpse.
Yeah,
They dragged out of semi-retirement, whatever he was in. What's the over/under on how many games he plays?
man. I mean, if I'm the Heat, I'm benching him until the last 2 weeks, working him in, and then get him ready for playing Hibbert. That's all they. That's the only reason they have him. Uh,
Do you
but
think he plays over 10 minutes a game in the regular season?
who's their other center? Is it Birdman? They still got Birdman,
Birdman and
and they
Bosch, I
play
guess.
Bosch, small ball Bosch.
They have Joel Anthony, but they never play him.
I would say he either plays less than 10 minutes a game and plays a majority of the season because he can't get hurt, I would think, in that amount of time. Or they try and get him in for 15 to 20 minutes a game, and then he plays maybe 20 games.
He breaks down after not being able to play 15 minutes a game.
Yeah, I mean, I was there watching, I think, game 4 last year of the Timberwolves season when Roy hurt his knee again. And it's just something about chronic knee issues. You just can't trust him ever. I would not trust Odin at all. I'm just assuming he's not playing for them in the playoffs.
Yeah, it is. It's really actually just sad when you think about it. I mean, the dude's played, I want to say he's played exactly 82 games since he was drafted
Really?
5, 6 years ago. He's
One
played
season?
exactly one season.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's too bad. All because he wasn't even bad either. Like he was a double-double guy, getting a couple blocks. Like,
Yeah, and that's pretty much all the Heat need him for. Grab,
yeah,
depending on how many minutes you're playing, maybe a couple blocks a game, grab a couple boards.
stay healthy.
Don't touch the ball on offense. Dear God.
Don't look off into the crowd and scare the children.
Yeah.
Just- uh, but yeah, I guess this team, obviously, they're going to make it, barring any sort of like drastic injuries. Like I'm talking LeBron, Wade, both go down, Bosch goes down. Because I even think if one of the big three, big two and a half, whatever you want to call them, if one of those guys went down, including LeBron James, I think they would still make the playoffs.
I think they could just because they're so systemized now. Like all those other guys could just still play their roles, and
Yeah.
it'd be all right. I mean, they
And
wouldn't
if,
have a chance in the playoffs, but
yeah, and if LeBron goes down, I mean, you have Michael Beasley to step right in and take
that's true.
that spot.
Basically the same guy.
Yeah, one and the same. Um,
Now, who do you
but
have at 2? I actually ranked mine as how I think they'll finish, but
oh, okay. I didn't because I was scared. I was too afraid to because I was thinking the smart thing for the Heat. The Heat kind of blew out their engine going for that wins record. You remember that?
yeah,
And I wouldn't be surprised if they came in second this year. Because Spoelstra, what's he trying to prove in the regular season? What's LeBron trying to prove? Nothing. It's
nothing.
all about rings at this point. Save yourself, save Odin for the playoffs,
Yeah.
unleash the Odin. He's like the Kraken.
He looks similar, but I could see honestly this team turning into the like next Spurs, where they just win regular season games because, like I said, they're so systematic that they just go out and win games, and they just end up with the top seed every year because that's just what happens.
Because that's what they do,
Yeah,
basically.
even though Tim Duncan sits for like 10 games, they still go out and just get it done. I could see that,
Yeah.
but
But yeah,
uh,
well, I'm going to say them number one because I think the only reason, talent-wise, I think they're number one. I think the only reason they don't do it is something that we couldn't predict, like,
right.
Spoelstra sitting them, like you said.
Right. Yeah, it's probably if it's either injury or their own doing. Otherwise, they're the best team.
Yeah, absolutely. So who'd you have it to?
Who'd you have it to?
Dude, I couldn't make up my mind because, like I said, I didn't do it. So I'm looking at them right now, and I'm saying Bulls or Pacers, obviously.
Yeah, it's
I love both those teams.
Me too. It's an interesting debate. I've been talking to people about this. It's pretty split on where people think. I got Bulls too.
I could see that.
Um, and I believe they're in the same division, right?
They are. They're in the Pistons division,
Yeah.
the Central.
So I don't know why I picked the Bulls too. I just think Rose is gonna come back and just be awesome. Like he took so much time off, he better be awesome, first of all. And second of all, I think he's gonna take people by surprise. I mean, he's seriously gonna go up against a bunch of guys who have never actually played against him. And he's gonna be going up against guys who haven't played against him for a year and a half. And forgetting how quick he is and just how good he is.
They're gonna be like, "Holy crap, we forgot this dude won an MVP and is
Yeah.
most
Like
pound for pound like the most athletic dude in the NBA."
right, like I've forgotten how good he is. And then I go back and watch, clips and it's like, damn, this guy is Russell Westbrook who can pass. But he was a man that MVP year. Probably shouldn't have won it, but it was a great year.
Yeah. Yeah. Since you took Chicago too, I'm gonna say the Pacers go too, just to disagree.
All right.
And
Fair
this
enough.
is why though, because I'm thinking I don't think the Bulls are as deep as the Pacers. You look at their bench and they got Heinrich, they got Teague, Gibson. I mean, don't get me wrong, their bench is deeper than like the majority of teams, but
Yeah, but compared to the Pacers have a great bench this year.
I like their Scola signing.
Oh yeah, that was
I
big.
don't mind throwing him out there, like, because if there's anybody who fits in with like their bang around style, their borderline dirty style, it's the absolutely dirty Louis Scola.
They that signing reminds me of the bench version of signing David West. Like they just grabbed this guy who's super productive out of nowhere, and no one else in the league was like, "Oh, he was available." Like, what happened? Like, how'd you do that? And
That's
that's
what
what
happened
makes
when he was amnestied too. Do you remember that?
yeah. And the Suns just picked him up, and
The
everyone felt
Suns,
bad
who
for
had
him.
zero people, and they just like basically ruined Louis Scola's career.
Yeah.
They signed him, and he's like, "Come on, are you serious?" He probably
Now,
saw it on Twitter.
now here's some names for you. For my case, for the Bulls, I assume they're gonna start Butler at the 2, but I'm not sure. And that starting lineup is straight scary. If you're talking Rose, Butler, Deng, Boozer, Noah,
Yeah,
like
it is. It is.
offensively and defensively. But two guys they added that are going to be underrated and be really productive, I think, will be Mike Dunleavy, just pure stroke, and Tony Snell, the rookie out of New Mexico. I really like him as a poor man's Jimmy Butler. And I think he comes in and just does what Butler did last year. Probably not quite as well, but when you're talking about that kind of talent off the bench, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I could be wrong with the depth. I really like Indiana. I'm a huge Paul George fan.
Yeah, I think Indiana might have a better team for the regular season. Now I'm talking myself into having them too, but because they're more balanced. If Rose has a bad night, the Bulls might lose. I mean, they're so defensively oriented that a bad offensive night could really sink them. Whereas
They're the
Indiana's
one.
got 3 options for 25 points.
Yeah, they do. The one thing though about the Bulls is Thibodeau just like runs his players into the ground.
Yeah,
It's like you don't need to play Rose, Noah, Butler, Dang over 45 minutes in any regular season game,
right. And that
let
was
alone like multiple times per week.
that was painfully evident last year. You get literally guys throw. I mean, they were short, but still, he refused to play the guys at the end of the bench, and you got Nate Robinson throwing up. He's playing like 48 minutes every night.
It's just chucking.
Yeah, like that's when you know. There's your sign that you're playing your guys a little too much.
Another sign is Noah breaks down every year.
Yeah,
Isn't that enough of a sign right there?
right when you need him.
Exactly. And
Limping
like
out there in the playoffs.
at no fault of his own, it's like, what is Noah plays 38 minutes a game? I think is what it was last year. No center should be playing 38 minutes a game, especially one that plays as hard and as rough as Joakim Noah.
Yeah, and they didn't address it. Their backup is still Nazir Muhammad.
No, because he fully plans on playing him 38 minutes a game.
Yeah,
He's
He's
hell
like,
bent on that.
you're good, right, Noah? You're good. All right.
And Noah's way too much of a competitor to be like, nah, Tom,
Yeah.
seriously.
Or he's like breathing so heavily that he can't say no. So Tom just turns around.
He's like, I'm gonna take your gasping as a
Yeah.
your no answer and gasping as a yes, you're good to go.
Yeah. All right. Well,
So there's those two teams. They're in.
yep.
Indiana, Bulls, both great starting fives, both some good depth.
Gonna be
Uh,
great. Now with the Bulls being legit contenders, it's gonna be basically last year's playoffs, but even better.
oh
I
yeah,
can't wait for the East.
oh yeah.
And then throw in my fourth team. I assume we're in agreement on the fourth team.
I think so.
New Jersey
Brooklyn,
Nets. Yep.
yeah.
Or not New Jersey, Brooklyn Nets.
Brooklyn Nets. Yeah. How dare you say New Jersey? Say there. But yeah, I definitely got them at the four. They look like they could be scary in the playoffs, but they gotta
Another
get there healthy.
right, another team that needs to watch its minutes.
Yeah, and
Just
not because of like it's not like they've been getting hurt in the past. It's just their guys are getting old.
yeah,
You got KG and Paul Pierce are old, man.
KG Pierce, Kirilenko,
Kirilenko's up there,
who the Timberwolves ran into the ground last year when all their other guys were hurt, and
and who
Jason Terry.
admittedly, AK-47 just admitted that he didn't pick up a basketball since last year,
Oh, really? Good, good.
but he's good.
I was hoping he hadn't.
He'll be
You
all
know?
right. If there's anything you need to avoid, it's reps.
That's true.
It's just general reps in the off season.
Yeah, I heard practicing too much can really hurt you.
Yeah. But you look at their team, like D-Rock might start the season hurt. I actually think he is. I think he's going to miss the
Yeah.
beginning, but it's not a lot. It's like a week or so.
No, yeah, I think they confirmed that he is out. And who's their backup then? Would it be Jason Terry?
One Sean Gumby Knees Livingston.
Oh,
Would
Sean
he'll
Livingston.
Oh yeah,
He's around. All right.
yeah. Before you ask, guess he's still in the NBA.
Okay, good.
Last year he was on a team, and I don't remember who, because it was forgettable because he's Sean Livingston, and
Right.
he's forever famous for that little knee trick he did. That like
If-
Chris Angel knee trick.
Yeah. If you just set a team, you might be right. He's been on like every team. I don't think you'd be wrong to say a team that he's been on, but
Yeah, fuck it. Mavericks. He was on the Mavericks.
he gives me hope that Odin can do something, right? Even if it's 10% of what he could have been.
I want to see like the all starting five for like the gruesome injury starting five.
Oh, yeah, this is good. Let's do it.
We got
Livingston and Odin.
of course, captains.
Would you put Brandon Roy? Was that gruesome? It was just kind of tragic, really.
Yeah, we could throw the all gruesome, all tragic starting five of recent. We can throw B. Roy on there because he was an absolute stud.
Yeah.
He really was. Kobe once was asked who's the hardest. I think it was like who's the hardest player to guard, and he said Brandon Roy.
Really?
Yeah, and then Brandon Roy had his injuries.
Yeah. He was,
that
I mean, he was a, what, 6'6", 6'7" shooting guard who had a high release. He could just pull up on a dime. Like,
Was he? I don't
How
think
do
he
you
was
guard
that big.
I swear he was 6'6".
Really, he was a big guy. I don't.
I'll look it up.
Okay, but maybe we'll have Livingston and Odin, Roy. I don't know. I don't know if I can think of any other people. Amari Stoudemire, maybe.
Yeah, that was bad. That was bad.
Tragic for like, just he was entertaining, and now he's god awful. Do you watch him play? And he like doesn't even move around on defense. Period.
He can't move laterally because, he doesn't have knees. So that doesn't help. But yeah, he was on track for, Hall of Fame status at his peak.
He was.
Like, people forget he was probably the second, maybe third best, because I was still when KG and Duncan were going hard. Maybe third best power forward in the league.
Yeah.
Pretty clearly.
Yep. He was a good player.
Um,
But that Nets team overall, like we were saying, they've just got a lot of age, which means you're going to see a lot of Andre Blatch minutes, who actually put up numbers last year, but it's not like I trust Andre Blatch.
no, I don't at all.
You got Reggie Evans, who might as well not even cross half court. You're just getting in the way at that point. They got Allen Anderson, former Spartan Allen Anderson.
Nice, man. He had a good year last year, didn't he?
He did over in Toronto, yeah.
Yeah.
He does a thing that when he hits a three, he like grabs his wrist and like cocks his arm like it's a gun.
Oh, Nice. That's the image the NBA wants.
It's, um, I like it. I started doing it.
And who else I get? Oh, Joe Johnson starting.
The most forgettable 20 million a year player in the league.
Oh god. Yeah, that's a whole other podcast right there. One of the worst contracts ever. Oh
That's
my.
like an example of a guy who was a stud, started getting paid, and was like, "Well, I'm good.
Yeah.
Mama, I made it." You know,
Here's a name that you probably haven't heard in a while. Who was on their team? Marko Jaric.
that guy's around still. He was.
He was like 10 years ago.
No, he's got to be like an old contract. There's no way they're loose like signing him up.
This is their current roster on their website.
And
And he's got stats for the preseason. He's playing. He's out there.
All right. Bring him back, dude. Bring the whole team back. The whole gang. Get Dr. J out there. Everything.
That's pretty bad. Started his career in 2000. So,
Oh, boy.
yeah.
I just say we bring them all back. We get Richard Jefferson, Kmart, just who was their starting shooting guard
When they were
had
good.
J Kidd? Yeah.
Wasn't it Kerry Kittles?
That's who I was thinking. Yeah. Kittles.
Just gunning. Great team. Great NBA Live team.
But yeah, I think that's going to be a great team. I think they're going to come in fourth only because I think there's a big. You got your 1, 2, 3. You got your Miami, Indiana, Chicago, and then I think there's
Yeah.
a big jump. Especially because we didn't even mention they got a dude coaching them that played last year.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That's something I feel like you're going to have to iron out the kinks for a while.
Right.
Let's not a
And-
team. I wouldn't be surprised if they were at or below 500 30 games into the season, and then just went ham after that.
I mean, I have no idea what to expect from the Nets because, how would you? Like who's even going to I don't even know who's going to play, Like I can kind of think in my head who's going to start, but how many minutes? Who's there, whose team is it? Is it Williams' team? Is it Garnett's team? Is it Pierce's team? It's not Kidd's team, I'll tell you that much.
That's the last guy. He's about fourth down the
Yeah.
pecking order of whose team it is.
Isn't Kidd like a year older than Garnett?
Yeah. That
Yeah.
sounds about right.
Or maybe 1 or 2 years older than Garnett. And probably not that much older than Pierce, so.
Then they got a crazy owner who just takes people out in the middle of the ocean and just forces them to do what he wants to sign teams.
Kirilenko
They basically
brought him out on his
paying-
boat.
brought him
You
out
will
on the
turn
infamous
down.
boat.
You will turn down that 10 million and take my 3 million rubles. I wonder what the conversion is for rubles. Maybe that's the secret.
That's what it
He's
is.
actually getting more.
Little known fact: the ruble is on fire in the world economy.
Damn it, Kirilenko. The
So-
Russians got us again.
But yeah, that's just an exciting team, even if they're not exciting to watch. It's just the
Yeah.
excitement of who's on their team right now.
That's one of those teams where I'm like all in first week of the season. When are the Nets on? I'm watching. And then I forget about them until the playoffs start. It's like, okay, right. I've seen all these players play hundreds of games.
Yeah,
I'll wait till the games matter.
you're like, oh yeah, that's right. KG is a good defender and sets elbow picks. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Paul Pierce has great footwork and a nice little mid-range step back.
Yep.
Been
No
seeing
jump.
this for years.
No jump.
Never.
Foot on the
Hasn't-
floor at all times.
Hasn't jumped in years.
Paul Pierce, since he was maybe fifth year in the league, so he's mid-20s, he's had that old man game.
Yeah.
Ever since he was athletically at his peak, he's had the old man game.
He had an
And it
old man
works.
game. Yeah, he was a young old man.
I
Are
can't
there
explain
any
it.
other players like that?
That purposefully have an old man game?
Luis Scola?
Definitely.
Luis
But he
Scola
looks
has
he looks the part.
Luis Scola has that old man at the rec, taped up everywhere.
Oh yeah, double knee
pads.
brace. Yeah.
He's jogging laps around the gym for 10 minutes to oil up. He's got that style game.
Yeah. He's that guy who's like, man, we need a 10th. Want to play fours with a sub? And then he raises his hand in the corner. I'm in. I'm good. and just
like,
drains like 10 straight hook shots.
damn it! I told
Yeah.
you guys not to say it loud. Scola always volunteers to play.
Yeah.
But all right, that's that team. They're gonna be fun. We'll see what happens with them now.
Mhm.
I cement them right in at 4, just because, like I was saying, the top 3 teams, big jump to Brooklyn. Then I
Yep.
think an equally big jump to the Knicks.
Yeah, and that's why I have the Knicks at 5, is because I think there is a pretty big separation. As long as Brooklyn plays most of their players most of the year, they should be locked for the 4 seed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
The
yeah,
Knicks,
Knicks are 5 in my rankings.
yeah, the last year they had 54 wins, and I feel like a team has 54 wins. You don't go into the next season just writing them off, and
No,
we're 100% doing that to them.
did they lose anybody?
Uh, Jason Kidd, Chris Copeland, and no one good. They're just
Yeah.
not good. Everyone else got so much better. That's really
That's-
the problem.
That's the problem. And teams like the Pacers probably got better even by not adding anybody if they hadn't. You know, they're just young.
Well, I mean, the Pacers added. We didn't even mention Granger's back.
Right. They added a lot, and their other players probably got better
Yeah,
because of their experience, especially
Mhm.
George.
definitely.
You know, Bulls are getting Rose back. Nets obviously completely just loaded up. So yeah, the Knicks just kind of get pushed down. They got Bargnani.
Quick question about that Bulls team. I think the question that's on everybody's mind. Will D Rose be welcomed back into the starting 5, or has Kirk Heinrich solidified himself as this team's leader? That's, I mean, you got Captain Kirk.
Here's the problem, is that they got rid of their clear starting point guard, Nate Robinson. Right? They got rid of him. So now
Some might
Rose
say
is
the
going to
point
slide
guard of
in.
the future.
Yeah. Some would say the best point guard in the NBA. But whatever. Let him
Whatever.
walk. Let Rose
I-
back in.
Yeah, we're not GMs for a reason, I guess. But yeah, the Knicks. Back to the Knicks. They just didn't. The problem is they just didn't get better.
No, I mean, I think Bargnani doesn't move the needle at all. It's just another guy that throws up threes like the rest of them.
And did they trade first rounders for him?
Yeah, they might have actually.
I think they did.
They drafted Hardaway Jr., I'm pretty sure. So they
They
kept
did.
this year's first round pick.
They got
But
they
they
drafted
have-
Hardaway and I forgot who. Maybe no. I think I'm thinking of a different team. Never mind.
They can't make any moves. They have no flexibility because of Stoudemire. This is the team.
Yep.
I don't think they can trade.
This is it. Yeah, they can't do anything unless unless the Nets owner takes someone out on a boat and forces them to take Stoudemire away from the Knicks.
That is Bill Simmons' theory. He's gonna welcome Stoudemire with open arms for Reggie Evans.
You guys take Reggie.
Yeah.
Like,
But in theory, if Stoudemire could play a half as well as he played that one good year he had on the Knicks, and he is basically your second unit, him and shooters, they're terrible defensively, but I could see them scoring a lot of points every game. The only problem is Stoudemire's not going to play very much. And then you're just back to Melo Ball. I mean,
Yeah. He's not coming back. I think we're done seeing Stoudemire.
That's a shame.
They got one thing that helped their defense though is they got Metal World Peace,
Oh, that's right.
who, I mean, he's old. He's not an elite defender anymore, but he's above average defender.
Right. He'll
He
kick
can
your
guard
ass, too.
dudes. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He'll elbow you in the back of your head. Then you have Iman Shumpert, who's going to have a full year healthy because he started out last year. Remember, he
Oh.
had that torn ACL.
I forgot about Shumpert. I was thinking Smith was going to start for him, but no. Yeah, they're not bad. They're just not. They're not top 4, unfortunately for them.
They just didn't get as good as everyone else. Everyone just surpassed them.
And that just goes back to them not having any money. I mean,
Yeah.
unfortunately for them, they signed Stoudemire to whatever $100 million deal.
Yeah, basically. And the thing is, they shoot so many threes that they just live and die by it.
Yeah.
And that's a team that has streaks. They had a huge streak. I forgot what the winning streak was last year, but it was long.
Was it
Double
near the
digits.
end?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was like going into the playoffs, and people were kind of jumping on the bandwagon for him. And then, of
And-
course, they didn't make a shot in that series. They lost.
Exactly.
It
But
all evened
before
out.
that streak, they weren't. I want to say they were around like the 4 or 5 range before that streak. Then they went on a huge streak, started hitting those threes, and then got to the playoffs. They stopped hitting the threes, and they literally
Yeah.
just live and die by them.
Yeah. And they're not going to win because of it, but
Exactly.
that'll get them the fifth seed in the regular season, I think.
Yeah. Go ahead and pencil them in. So that means we knocked out 5 shitty teams and we locked in 5 good teams,
Yep.
which leaves us with the 5 candidates of who's going to actually take the playoff spots that are actually like legitimately up for grabs.
Yeah, and it's going to be a good year.
Yeah. First year or first team. These are the candidates. You wanna say who we got, or do you want to say that at the end? I was thinking the end.
We can say the end and just go through them now, who they are.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
So first team on my list of candidates is my Detroit Pistons, bringing the gang back. They got Chauncey back. They got Rasheed Wallace assistant coaching.
Mm-hmm.
So that's exactly what I want when you have a real young Andre Drummond coming up in the league.
Yeah.
Can't
go
but they
wrong.
did make some moves. Only problem is I can't tell if we made good moves. Like I think they're good moves, but I can't tell if we made good moves or if I'm just like so depraved of good basketball that I'll take anything at this point. So as an outsider, Josh Smith and Brandon Jennings, what does that do for you?
Oh man, I don't know if I'd call myself an outsider. I mean, I watch the Pistons because that's who's on, and they're probably my second team. But
Yeah.
okay, at the very bare minimum, this team is going to be so much more exciting than last year. It's unbelievable. So that's good for
They'll be
us,
worth
us
watching.
fans. Yeah,
Last year they were really, dude, it was like laughable. It was
Yeah.
basically just stagnant basketball, except for when Will Bynum and Andre Drummond were running pick and roll alley oops.
Yep.
That was their
that was
offense.
pretty much it.
And when
And
that's your offense, you win 24, 5, 6 games, whatever they won.
yeah, and you sell about 10 tickets a game. I really hope that the stands at least fill in the lower level this year, so it doesn't look so bad on TV. That would be nice.
It's hitting like WNBA style
It's bad.
empty seats.
But okay, so my thoughts on the Pistons this year are starting Smith, Monroe, and Drummond together, I think is problematic. They could start them and then rotate their minutes so they're not always on the court. Like you could play those 3 guys as your bigs because Monroe can play 4 or 5, and you can get away with playing them all 35 minutes a game, right? If I'm doing my math correctly.
I think so.
And just have that be your big man rotation. That would be awesome. The problem with that is who basically plays with the backups. I don't even know who I would choose to play with the backups, but them together.
Greg Monroe has spent his entire career playing with guys that are essentially backups.
That's true. And actually, honestly, of the 3, he's your guy who you could just give the ball to in the low post. You know, give him some space. He'll do something.
Yeah, here you go, work.
More than
Do
Drummond
work.
will do. But you had some opinions about those 3 playing together and what that does with spacing.
Yeah, it's going to be really bad. The spacing is going to be a serious issue, I think, with that. And it's like something I don't want to admit. So I'm saying it on something I'm going to post on the internet. I think spacing could kill this team. You're going to have Andre Drummond, who cannot shoot outside, who shoots like 40% from the line, a guy that literally can't take a jumper. You have Greg Monroe, who, if he could develop a jumper, that could help our team so dramatically.
Yeah.
But, however, he does not. He doesn't
Just
have
Just a 15-footer, Greg. That's all you need.
anything, dude. Like, just turn around when you're 15 feet away from the basket and chuck every once in a while. Hit one. And then you have Josh Smith, who really the only person who thinks he has a good outside jump shot is Josh Smith.
Yeah.
Everyone
Keyword
else
thinks.
knows he doesn't. And what's going to happen is we're basically going to be forced into what I think is a lot of Josh Smith left-handed rainbows. And,
Yeah.
I don't like
it. You could see a lot, because of the congestion, you could see a lot of shot clocks running down. Either let Jennings try and do something, which will result in a fadeaway 18-footer, or Josh Smith driving at the hoop wildly and, trying a 10-foot layup.
Yeah.
That could be an issue. But the good news is the flip side is defensively, if you get Brandon Jennings to buy in, they could be an absolute force defensively.
Yeah, agreed.
Clearly inside, but even on the wing, when you're talking about guys like Jennings, who's extremely quick, if you're playing Caldwell Pope, the rookie, long, quick on the wing with Smith, one of the
Yeah,
better
he'll have
defensive
some
players in the
growing
league.
pains. He'll have defensive growing pains though. Just being a rookie.
But
You,
again, you got Drummond at the rim. That's all right. You
yeah,
can ask him to play in the lanes, and you'll be okay.
I hate to say his name, but Singler isn't a terrible defender.
No, he's the opposite of Pope. He does everything right technically, just has no athleticism whatsoever.
None whatsoever.
If you could
Zero.
combine them, oh god, that'd be a great
He's
player.
also the ugliest person in the league.
That is true because Sam Cassell retired.
Uh-huh.
So yeah.
Yep. That leaves Kyle Singler with reigning champ. But one thing that's could happen. What's going to be big is if Contavious Caldwell Pope. I got to get used to saying that name. But if KCP, if he can shoot right out of the gate, he'll get a
Huge.
lot of minutes.
Yeah.
They'll
Huge.
put him out there a lot to help that spacing. Like
Yep.
if he can hit some shots, they will basically be forced to put him out there. Because the thing is, you're not going to put Stuckey out there. Stuckey can't shoot. Chauncey can't
Stay
shoot.
healthy.
He can't shoot, but he can't stay healthy, and he's getting old.
Yeah.
And the Achilles injury really sapped him of anything he really had.
Right. And to get away with that Smith, Monroe, Drummond combo, you need a shooter. And it's going to come down to Singler or KCP. And you would clearly prefer KCP in other areas of the game if he could start knocking down shots.
Yeah.
And that'd be pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah. We also got another big question mark. We got that Luigi. I haven't heard it said anywhere, but I think it's Luigi Datomi.
Datomi? Yeah.
And word on the street is he can shoot. So
I've heard he could be the best shooter in the NBA. That good. Plus,
that would
huge.
be awesome.
Isn't he 6'9", something like that? 6'10"?
He is very tall. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's big. He's up there.
He's definitely a spacer. And I'm trying to think. Oh, not that he'll help them shooting, but I love me some what's his name? Tony Mitchell.
Really?
Have you seen some of his highlights?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen him enough to know much about him.
Okay. Just fantastic athlete and an incredible rebounder from the 3 spot. Can't shoot worth a lick, so probably won't play very much. But just, late on in the season, maybe there's a couple injuries, you'll see Tony Mitchell come out and have 10 dunks one game. And he'll probably be in the dunk contest.
That's cool. I can do that. I could watch one of our deep bench guys playing the dunk contest. Give me a reason to watch the shitty dunk contest.
Right. Has there been a Piston in it ever?
Geez, not that I can think of.
Yeah, I can't either. I think he and KCP might have a run at it.
I don't know. Oh, I guess Josh Smith was in it, but he wasn't a Piston at the time.
Right. Yeah.
But one thing I was going to say about this team is I think a guy that could actually see minutes and actually start to be productive is we're bringing him back, Charlie V. Bringing him back from the grave.
There you go. Did he take more threes than twos last year? I think that's a stat. I think he took more threes than twos last year.
I believe that. When you watch him, he
legitimately.
literally just chucks.
Yeah, and he was part of that second lineup you were talking about, which was actually fun to watch. Buying him drive in and just kicking out to Charlie V for that catapult. Just draining him.
But I mean, imagine Drummond out there, Monroe playing with that second unit. So you got Charlie V at the 4, but he's outside, and you got Josh Smith in his in his roundhouse, just right down in the paint.
Yeah.
I like that.
I like that too, actually, a lot. It's kind of weird playing your 4 out and your 3 in, but you do what you got to do. I guess they're just both forwards.
Knicks are going to do it too with Bargnani.
Yeah, that's true.
They'll do it.
And they'll probably post up Melo, so.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? One more thing about the Pistons is it was surprising, going off the Charlie V thing, it was surprising to me they didn't amnesty him. He would be a guy they could trade for a piece later because he's an expiring deal that's pretty high, I think. 8 mil.
It's high. Off the top of my head, I can't remember, but 8 sounds right. It's stupidly high.
I don't know who they bring in with that, but if I'm a bad team with a kind of good player, I could totally see sending the Pistons a 2 guard for, Villanueva, maybe a pick, maybe Caldwell Pope, depending on, who Pistons wanted
The
to bring in.
quality of the guy, yeah.
Right. They have pieces to make a move late if they're on that cusp, which I really
Is
like.
is that a guy maybe like an Eric Gordon?
I would love Eric Gordon. There's your shooting problem solved if he
Yeah.
plays.
But the thing is,
Um,
they're going to be frantically trying to make the playoffs in the West because their
it's true
pick
'cause
goes to
the pick.
76ers.
Yeah. So it depends on how bad they are. But
It's unfortunate that that team is like I would chalk them down for an East spot without blinking an eye, and I don't think they have a shot in the West. The
yeah,
West is brutal this year.
that's another fantasy team though. How are they going to look?
That's
I mean,
true.
it's probably for another podcast, but you're talking about guys that all need the ball. It's never a good thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's our Pistons. That's a candidate stealing a spot. Another team, Cleveland Cavaliers. That's a team with a lot of young pieces, and they look like they could be good in a couple of years, especially since they have a crazy amount of cap space next year.
Yeah.
But do they sneak into the playoffs this year? Yeah.
It's all Bynum. I feel like without Bynum, I would assume that Varejao gets hurt at some point, and then they suddenly get very small.
Yeah.
Then you're talking about, I don't even know who their backup center is, but you're talking about, Tristan Thompson.
Is it the other Zeller?
That's right, Tyler.
Yeah.
So you're talking about either Tyler playing 35 minutes a night, or Thompson, who's like 6'8", playing kind of your big, along with Bennett, who's 6'7". They're just small. Without Bynum and Varejao, they're small. And those guys are obviously huge injury risks. So that's it. I mean, it turns on Bynum, in my opinion.
Yeah, and Bynum, I'm pretty sure like he's been approved to work out, but they don't have a timetable for him.
Really? So he's not starting the season, though?
No, but he's never had a timetable. Like this dude, I don't think this guy likes basketball.
I don't think he does either. I think he likes barbershop.
Bowling and barbering.
Yeah. He's a weird dude. I mean, that's what happens when you go into the NBA when you're 17
Yeah.
and you have to play with Kobe.
Yeah, exactly. You got someone barking at you every day.
Yeah.
And you're a 17-year-old child and you have all these millions of dollars.
He
And
could
you're
probably
just a
sue Kobe.
man-child.
Yeah, he's like bipolar now because of him.
Yeah.
But
Beaten
yeah,
wife syndrome from Kobe.
I love their roster if everyone's healthy. Big question mark. Yeah, Kyrie's amazing. I don't know where else to go with them.
Uncle Drew can get buckets.
Uncle Drew. I want to see the rest of that team, man. Him and Kevin Love, but who else?
The old team, I think you put Odin out there just to save on makeup.
No, they had to use makeup to make him look a little younger. Everyone was like, "Who's this dinosaur?"
Brontosaurus at center.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on the Cavs? I mean, I like Jarrett Jack. That was a great signing.
Yeah, I
especially
really
if
like
Kyrie's
that
hurt.
a lot. I like that a lot. The Tristan Thompson changing his hand thing is kind of weird.
It's really weird. Just for free throws, though, right?
I think so. I heard it just for jump shots at first, but then I heard it again just for free throws. So I don't know. I guess I'll believe it when I see it. Like, what kind of dude just
Right.
switches hands? That's
I mean,
weird.
he couldn't shoot anyways, so it doesn't hurt.
He's like, just forget it. I'll try
Yeah.
the other hand. But yeah, they got Thompson, who's actually I think is a pretty solid player,
Oh, I love Thompson. Extremely
Yeah.
underrated. He's your mini Varejao.
and he's got that real
Um,
goofy like push shot. You know what I'm talking about? When you see him play, it's like a big man floater, but it's not
Yeah.
pretty. Floaters are pretty. His is not. It's just like
horrifying.
it's like a shot put, but it goes in.
Right. It's one of those where it's like coming off. That's not going in.
Yeah.
Like, I feel bad for him because that's gonna be an air ball.
And then it just like bounces off the rim 4 times and goes in every
Yeah.
time.
He's that game. But another guy I really like off their bench is Karasev, the rookie out of Russia. I was really hoping he would fall to the Timberwolves. They picked him up right before, but he is a dead-eye shooter,
Yeah.
and he won't. I don't think he'll have a huge impact this year, but again, they're a youth movement there going forward. I like him a lot.
Yeah, if you look at their team next year with Irving, Waiters, Thompson, all real young. Oh, and Bennett, first overall pick. Jeez, first
Number
overall
one
pick,
overall pick.
Bennett. That like the quietest first overall pick since Bargnani.
You lose, assuming Bynum can't play. They
I'm
have
gonna go ahead and assume that guy never plays
Yeah.
basketball again.
they have an out on his deal, so that's 12 million. Then they have Verja coming off the books at what, 11? 10 or 11 million?
That sounds right. And the thing is,
That
he's a
right there
good
gets you
basketball
LeBron.
player. Bring him home.
That right there gets you LeBron. That's all I'm saying.
Bring him home. LeBron's trying to become the first billionaire athlete. Does this open up a movie? I'm talking like a huge movie, blockbusters.
Back to Cleveland.
It's
It's the first ever sequel where there wasn't a movie before it. They just jump right in as if we all know the story.
And it just sells tickets like crazy.
Oh, I'd see it.
Denzel plays LeBron, of course.
Yeah. Actually, I would, honestly, we're talking about Uncle Drew. I'd see an Uncle Drew movie. If that.
A funny movie?
Yeah.
You talking like literally Uncle Drew?
Yeah.
I
Don't you think those ads are good?
I think they're genius and hilarious, yeah.
Right. Like, Kyrie Irving obviously has a funny bone. Like, just seems like a funny, goofy guy. You get him in a movie, Ray Allen style, get some comedy writers up in there. You never know what could happen.
Kevin Love is, like, legitimately funny.
Yeah. Have you seen those ads for the coats or whatever that they do?
No. But if it's him in there and he's being funny, like, I'll watch him. I love Kevin Love.
Check it out. I think it was, if you YouTube it, it's like a Minnesota local coat drive. And it's him. It's him like in a saxophone and like a fur coat. And then it's like Pekovic. Pekovic is really funny too, because he can't speak English and he's just awkward.
Is he like the
look it up? Just look it up.
Pavel Datsuk, Dr. Romani commercials? You ever see those? Pavel Datsuk is like a hockey player, Red Wings. Can't speak almost a lick of English, and he's just like,
he trusts his eyes
to Dr. Romani, and you should too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he trusts him big time. He makes the Rip Hamilton Dr. Romani commercials look intelligent.
How is Dr. Romani out there? He snagged up Rip, Datsuk, Lindstrom. They've all done Romani. That's a hell of a lineup.
It's all about who you know. That's all I can say.
We're out here on our grind, filming podcasts, and he's just cleaning teeth, and he's rubbing elbows with everybody out there.
Man, who knew that he was the guy to see for Detroit, athletes.
That's not fair.
Dr. Romani.
But anyway, Cleveland. Anything left on Cleveland for you? Anything left to say?
No, not really. Great video game team.
Yeah, I don't think so either. The injury thing really gets me with them. Like you're saying, a good video game team because people don't get hurt when you play one video game.
Right.
But when you play 82 real life games, Verja goes down.
And even Kyrie has never played. I mean, he's played 2 years, but he's had significant time missed both years. So.
Yeah. Waiters, he missed 20 games last year, too.
Did he really miss 20?
Uh-huh.
Wow. So, yeah. It's a good thing they brought Jack in. Because as far as I can tell, he's a pretty reliable player.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Moving on.
Another team that kind of has that same kind of injury bug as the Washington Wizards.
Yeah, very similar. They're not quite as good, I think. Their peak isn't quite as high as Cleveland this year, but super young, super athletic, super injury prone.
Yeah, John Wall, when he can stay on the court, and now that he's got a few years under his belt, you can see things starting to click with that guy. He was a stud at the end of last year, the last 2 months, because I had him on my fantasy team. I was following him. Last 2 months.
His post All-Star break.
His what, you said?
His post All-Star break, which is assumed the last 2 months, right?
Oh, yeah. His last 2 months, he was 22-8, and then he was 23-7.
Wow.
Like, he's no joke. He, like, legitimately is one of the fastest guys in sports, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's like, when you watch Rose and Westbrook, they look like they're moving fast. Wall is the kind of fast where he just covers ground, and, like, he's got that Randy Moss speed. It's just so fluid. You don't know how he does it.
Yeah, he's got a really long stride.
He's from half court to the rim in like 5 dribbles. Like he's like LeBron in terms of that kind of movement, and it's incredible. Can't shoot. He took like an insane amount of threes last year, like 14, insanely low.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was like incredible, and for a point guard in today's NBA, it's questionable.
It is.
But that's what Beal's for.
Yeah, and Beal was a dude. He it's not like he came out and he was like a rookie of the year guy, but he was good and he got better and better as the year went. Like,
Yeah.
you could see him getting better and better. He got hurt at the end, and kind of missed bits and pieces at the end, little chunks. But what else can you ask for a young dude other than you're playing on a team that had a lot of injuries? You're a young dude.
Hmm.
Just get better at basketball and wait for next year. And he did that.
He definitely did that. And
I'm excited to see him.
unfortunately for them last year, his peak kind of was right before Wall. But there was a time when Beal was kind of carrying that team. It was pretty incredible that rookie shooting guard could make that big of an impact. He was pretty good defensively too, if I remember correctly. So big things for them in the backcourt.
Exactly. I really like that backcourt a lot. They brought back Martell Webster. I guess they have. They like him and he fits in, but I mean, he's
Paid
not
him too much.
Yeah, is he a future piece? Probably not.
No, he's a shooter.
Yeah, but I mean, he's an NBA caliber guy.
Yeah.
He'll get minutes, and he does deserve minutes. But then you get like the bigger you get on this team, the more question marks you get.
Yeah, with injuries and play. I mean, Nene is going to be hurt at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Okafor, I don't know how much is left for him.
He's hurt right now too.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's starting the year, or not starting the year, I should say.
Well, that's not good for them. Who's their backup center? Seraphin?
Seraphin.
They still got him?
Dude, Seraphin is like scary soft. Kevin Seraphin is a bowl of mashed potatoes lining up at the 5 spot.
Well, that's not good.
Yeah.
They can't. I'm trying to think of who their fours are. They can't play Nene at center, right? They got no 4.
Oh, they couldn't play him there because they don't have anyone to replace him, you're saying?
Yeah, like Vesely, who is awful.
Yeah, he's like one of the worst draft picks ever, probably.
Right.
He's not
If
good.
he had gotten injured, he could easily go on our team of injured busts. But he's just a talent bust.
He's a real life bust.
Yeah.
They have, or in my opinion, on this team, with the injuries already with Okafor out, because Okafor can at least still defend. And if you didn't know, Washington had like one of the best defenses in the league when John Wall was on the court.
Yeah, they did. Was it
They
top
can all
5?
defend. It was. It might have even been like top 2.
Wow.
Like they had a very, very stingy defense and very little offense. So hopefully a guy like Otto Porter, I don't know, what do you think about that guy? Is he gonna do anything?
No, that was a reach. I mean, he's the Cody Zeller of small forwards. He's this good now and forever. And we'll see what that means for them. I don't see him being a good defender. He just seems a little gumpy to me. I don't know. He's a glue guy.
If we're way off and if the masses are way off on this Otto Porter guy and he ends up being good, then they have John Wall, Bradley Beal, and a hypothetically good Otto Porter.
Yeah.
I like that as a building pieces, just like I like Cleveland. I feel like these two teams mirror each other.
No, I love that. And it's still Trevor Ariza if they need a defensive-minded small forward. Terrible on offense, but can play D.
I hate Trevor Ariza. I don't know why.
You hate him?
Yeah, he's like on my irrationally hate list. Like, I just don't like him.
I'm totally neutral
ever.
on him. He's just there.
I don't like him at all. I noticed that when that he got beat down in practice every day by Kobe when he played with the Lakers.
Oh,
and I think since then he's been angry at the Lakers. And if you see him ever play, spotlight him against the Lakers and spotlight him when Kobe guards him. He goes really hard, like he's angry at Kobe hard.
Yeah, that's kind of annoying.
Yeah, so I don't like him.
I like Glenn Rice Jr. That was their second pick. I might like him better than Porter.
I don't like him. You can probably guess why.
He's a gunner. Why don't you like him?
Didn't he go to Michigan? Wasn't he the Michigan dude?
No, that was Hardaway Jr.
Oh, that's Hardaway Jr. I'm thinking Glenn Rice. His dad went to Michigan.
Yeah, his dad did, though. He played
never mind.
at Georgia
I take that
Tech,
back.
and then he got kicked off the team for something.
I take that back. Glenn Rice Jr. I don't dislike you.
I apologize.
I have nothing to say to you. I know nothing about you, bro.
Here's what I would have done if I was the Wizards, in retrospect, whatever. They could have flipped that third pick when everyone was high on Porter and Nerlens was still on the board. They could have flipped that for a lottery pick this year, I bet, and would have been so much better off.
You think so? Like in the moment?
Especially if they knew they were gonna re-sign Webster anyways, and they have Ariza for one more year. You can get your small forward minutes out of those two. I mean, Otto Porter to me doesn't move the needle this year or next year. But if you somehow get a pick that might be top 10 next year, now you're talking.
Yeah, I could see that.
But they didn't do it, so there's no point in talking anymore about it. Hopefully Porter's good.
Oh well.
I like the Wizards for some reason. Like, I'm a big fan of them, and I have no idea why. I think I just like the John Wall dance. And,
I'm big into that.
yeah.
I could rock that dance for a while. Man. You get a couple beers in me, I'll John Wall all night.
Just corner the party.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, what would you think if they went back to being the Bullets, man? I don't like the Wizards name all that much.
I would be in favor. They already have the jerseys that look just like the Bullet jerseys.
I
Just
say
switch
they
the name.
change their logo to the giant bullet from Super Mario. You know what I'm talking about? Like
Oh yeah, that just
scrolls across
plows
the-
through. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
It
in
just
favor
does.
of name changes in general because most names suck, and the Wizards is one of them.
It's just kind of like cartoony. I don't know.
Yeah,
But probably wouldn't do much for the team. I'm going to assume that they're going to be who they're going to. Nene's getting injured, whether it's the Wizards or Bullets.
that's true. Yeah,
All right, that's that team. This is. The more I think about it, the more I think we're stretching on this team, and the more I think we should swap them out and Milwaukee in. Do you know who I'm talking about?
man, it could be either the two I have left.
That is kind of true, yeah. But the one I
And-
was thinking of
Yeah,
is Boston.
Boston. All right.
Boston, I really, really want this team to do good.
Yeah,
They
I
have-
think that's my
they-
problem with them too.
I think it is. It's like a fan thing. That's why I want them
Mhm.
to do good.
I mean, you and I are huge Rondo fans.
I
So-
love Rajon Rondo.
Yeah, he's probably your favorite point guard, isn't he?
Probably, yeah. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that doesn't mean he's the best, but I just
you love his game.
as much as I hate Ariza, I love Rondo. Like, they're the opposite sides.
And I think it's the same thing of like we are irrationally low on the Bucks. I think we're irrationally high on the Celtics, you know?
Yeah,
For no reason. I just a feeling in me.
yeah. It's like I get giddy excited when I watch because Rondo might be my favorite player, not in the Pistons. The guy who might be my second favorite player, not including KD, because I have a weird man crush on KD. I don't count him as a player. He's more of just like a lover. That guy to me, Avery Bradley.
Oh, I love him. Love his game.
Dude, I get giddy excited when I watch him like guard a dude for a full court, like a full
Yeah.
court press. He's insane to watch. Like he's one of the few guys he can like take over a game purely
did.
off press defense.
He won that game in the playoffs last year, right? Against the Knicks.
I think he made a huge comeback and
And
then,
that's when they fell short. Yeah.
yeah. But it was incredible. You remember that? I was gonna bring
Right.
that
It was
up.
all him, just playing press D, like you said, getting a couple steals. You know, and I mean, he presses them, and suddenly in the NBA with a 24-second shot clock, you know, you're down to halfway through your shot clock, just can completely disrupt the game whenever he wants.
Yeah, you have in that game. It was like you had fat Raymond Felton, couldn't get away from Bradley, wasn't
Yeah.
across half court until it was too late, and then suddenly they had no time, and
Yeah.
he was just demolishing them, and it was a blast to watch. Like it was a blast to see that.
And him and Rondo together, which I don't know if that's ever happened in the history of the Celtics, because one of them is always injured.
Oh
But
yeah,
them playing together is a force defensively. Like, you just can't dribble the ball outside the three-point line against those two.
nope. And did you hear Bradley? He put on some muscle this offseason.
Oh, really?
Like a weird amount of muscle for a guard.
Huh. I wonder what the thought process is there.
I don't know. Pitbull. He's just a pitbull.
Yeah, maybe he's just going to try and drive.
But those guys, Rondo's not going to start the season, so
Nope.
that's another thing that we should be down on. But just the idea of having Rondo and Bradley playing incredible defense, and then with the option of Courtney Lee, who's a good defender too, bringing him off the bench.
Yeah.
Swap
Yeah.
one of those guys out, and you have Lee right in there. Like these guys could press or maybe not a full court press, but these guys could put some serious
Right.
pressure on the opposing ball handler at all times.
And unfortunately, past their guards, I mean, you got Jeff Green, who will probably be their kind of main offensive weapon, which is scary. But past that, what do they got? Bass,
Yeah,
Kelly Olynyk.
that's the problem. That's where we get to this point.
Yeah.
Dude, you're like, this team to me, it's like it's like I don't have my contacts in, and I see what I think is a hot chick across the bar, right? And I'm walking across the bar, and I'm like, oh, Rondo, Bradley, this team could be so good. And then I get closer, and like starts to come into focus. That's me like looking at their big men, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh,
Nope.
no, nope,
Nope.
mm-mm. And then all of a sudden I'm right face to face with her, and she's like,
Yeah.
did you want something? And I'm like, oh, nothing. And I just walk away.
And then her friend, who you thought was ugly from across the bar, turns out she was real hot.
Yeah, and she has
Her name's the Milwaukee
Bucks.
Bucks. Yeah.
she has
Damn, I did
Bucks
not see that coming.
stamped on her forehead. Damn.
The reason I like the Celtics, though, is I don't think they have much talent, but I love Brad Stevens because I've seen him rape MSU before with no talent. And I think he's the kind of coach who I actually like in the NBA. Not a huge tactician guy, more of just, I'm going to take what I have and wring every ounce out of it that I can. So, we'll see.
Yeah. And if there's a team that needs it, it's this Boston team.
Yeah.
You know. But
Who
yeah,
knows with them?
their big men are just wretchedly bad. As
Yeah.
good as their on the ball defense could be, their ability to protect the basket. I mean, you're gonna have Brandon Bass, Jared
Awful.
Sullinger, Kelly Olynyk,
Yep.
and Humphreys, dude. That's their
Chris
core big.
Humphries, I forgot.
Yeah.
And they're all undersized. They have Thad Mello, but who's decent defensively, but just a
I don't-
train wreck offensively.
You know what? I don't think Fab Melo's on that team anymore.
They cut him?
I think
I swear he was on their preseason team. Let me look it up.
I could be wrong, but I thought that he got the boot from some team, like not even the Celtics. But
I mean, he's not going to play, but he would be an option defensively at the rim at least.
yeah, because I mean,
That's all he
I
can
like
do.
Sullinger, but Sullinger can't touch the rim, so he's not going to
Yeah.
protect it.
I don't think he can move his arms above his head because of his back.
But he was good. He had some good. He had a 2020 game last year.
Did he?
Yeah, I liked
Yeah,
Jared Sullinger before he got hurt.
They say that the rebounding always transfers, so he's going to give you that at the very, very, very least.
Yeah,
Oh man, we forgot about Gerald Wallace. Excellent player.
yeah. Or did we? Hey, we also forgot about Keith Bogans.
Keith Bogans, man. And Marshawn Brooks. Just more guards.
Just more guards, the merrier.
Jordan Crawford. Here's an interesting name. Deshaun Sims, ex-Michigan great, is on the team.
That's not going to last. That
That
can't
be good. He's listed as a rookie, even though he left Michigan like 5 years ago.
work. Hey, if you don't play in the league, you're technically a rookie, man.
You're right, though. There's no Melo.
They have no
Just got cut.
size.
Nope.
No Mello. No
They have-
size whatsoever on this team.
They have Chris Babb. Remember him from Iowa State last year?
No,
That
I'm
guy
not a
that just
huge,
drained threes.
I'm not a huge college basketball guy. I'm so addicted to professional basketball that I
Yeah.
don't watch college except for MSU and like some Big Ten games.
Let me tell you. Guy can drain threes. But he's like their 14th guard, so I don't think he's going to play.
Yeah. Oh well. His time was too soon to let him go. But yeah, that team is they're really gonna struggle at the rim. It's that simple.
Mhm.
They're just not big enough, and I want them to do good. I want to see Jeff Green play well because I've always liked Jeff Green. Like I said, I absolutely love Rondo and Bradley, but they're too little. Is Olynyk? Do you think Olynyk, who might have been the second best player in summer league, is he going to do anything in the pros?
I don't know. It says here he's 7 feet tall. I honestly thought he was like 6'9".
He looks really long, dude. When
he's
he plays,
really
he
skilled.
looks long.
So who knows? I mean, on a bad team, there's your dark horse rookie of the year candidate. Talking about a guy who might start at center for a team with no size. He's their post option,
Yeah, and he from when I watched him, he seemed, I could be wrong, but he seemed like a little more of the face the basket type.
Oh, yeah, and he was that way at Gonzaga too. He's a face-up guy. Decent drive for a big man who's apparently 7 feet tall. So he could do something. It's just not nearly enough.
Yeah, agreed. I did notice some things about him is he does like little things really well that like people who actually have lives and don't watch as much basketball as me don't notice. But like he does things like he passes on the like his two-hand like outlet passes on the money.
Yeah.
He fires it out on the money. Those are like little things that I don't
Those are
know. They
little-
get swept under the rug.
They're little things that add up to a bad team being good. I mean, you have to do those things if you don't have the talent.
Yeah.
Like Miami can throw those outlet passes that just kind of take a couple bounces at the end and hit the shin, and LeBron's still going to score. But if he can, I mean, I just say this coming from the Kevin Love perspective, talking about outlet passes, get a break going. That's how you score when you're bad, especially if you're good on D.
Yeah.
And he's a hustler too.
Yeah.
But now we're just trying to talk ourselves into the Celtics
Yeah,
being good.
here we go again. Yeah, what do we? Kelly Olynyk is not going to outlet pass them into the playoffs.
I'm
Why
pretty
did we
sure
put
I've
them on
talked
this
myself
list?
into that happening, as
We-
well as him being All NBA first team. I just, Howard. I don't like Dwight Howard, so next best center, step right up, Kelly Olynyk.
Olynyk, the outlet pass master.
Yes,
He's the king of the pass that comes right before the hockey assist. He's
Right.
like the third pass guy.
yeah. I'm gonna start watching Celtics games and tracking his outlet pass accuracy. Now, that's an advanced stat.
Yeah, that's some metrics that we need to get on before we
I
lose
think-
this $1 million idea.
I think we both agree though that the difference between the top 5 and the next group is way more vast than the bottom 5 and the middle group. Because I could easily see the Celtics being bottom 5 in the East.
Oh, definitely.
Like
Definitely.
you said, Bucks maybe pop in there. If Raptors keep Gay for some crazy reason, they would definitely be in the middle. So
Yeah. All 5 of the teams, our candidate teams, are closer to like say the Bobcats than they are the Heat.
oh yeah, agreed.
But our last one before we try
Oh,
to convince ourselves that the Celtics are going to win their division and Kelly Olynyk's passing.
Do we have to
we-
talk about these guys?
We have my hometown,
Oh god.
Atlanta Hawks. Before we start talking about them, let me tell you one thing I've heard about them since I've lived in Atlanta.
Okay.
Nothing. Nobody talks about this team or gives a shit about this team. I have never once heard anybody say anything about the Hawks in the now, 3 months I've lived in Atlanta.
And I'm pretty sure that was true when they were good and making the playoffs.
Ah, God, that's sad. Atlanta, dude, from moving from Detroit, a phenomenal sports city, crazy loyal, we love our teams. Moving to Atlanta, it's like a culture shock. They don't care about nothing down here, man.
Really? Not even
Nothing.
college?
No, well, they're just a lot of
Georgia.
bandwagon down here.
Yeah.
They like the Braves until they lose, and they like the I haven't heard anybody talk about the Falcons while I'm down here even.
Really?
Yeah,
there
because
just,
the
like, a lot
Falcons
of,
are doing bad.
Are there just a lot of like Kobe fans and LeBron fans, basically?
You see a lot of Heat jerseys.
Yeah, I would have guessed that.
I've seen more James jerseys than I have seen Horford jerseys, and Horford's a perennial All-Star. Like, that's not fair.
The only thing more depressing than that is their actual roster, which I'm
Yeah.
looking at, and is pretty bare. Beyond Millsap and Horford.
Yeah,
I don't know
Teague's
how you
young.
feel about Teague.
We're in like a stretch here where point guard is hands down the best position in the NBA.
Not even close, yeah.
Like, it's
Easily
like head and
best.
shoulders above. And it's unfortunate that a guy like Teague, who's young and is pretty solid, but like no matter what he does, he's never going to be a top 10 guy.
Yeah.
Because you look at your 10th best point guards, and there are guys like Ty Lawson that are great players like in any other, Ty Lawson, Mike Conley Jr., guys that are great players in any other like generation, any other decade, are now just 10th best of their position. So,
Forgotten about.
yeah.
I actually,
Teague is not up there.
last year, at the end of the year, I went through and ranked point guards because I was thinking there's so many good point guards. And I think the last guy in the top half of the league, so 15 or how many teams are there? 30?
30.
So the 15th best point guard in my rankings as a Minnesota fan was Ricky Rubio.
Ooh.
And
jeez.
Right?
Yeah, like that's crazy to think about. Like Ricky Rubio, he could lead the league in assists at one point in his career.
He could lead the league in steals too.
Yeah, and
he's
it
15th.
Really is hard to put him in the top 10. He probably is around that 12 to 15 range.
Yeah, and I had Teague below him even. And Teague is a serviceable point guard. Like he can shoot, he's pretty quick. I mean, I don't know, he's not great, but he's a really good point guard. And he's, most games he's the worst of the 2 point guards on the court. He's guarding someone better than him.
Yeah, he just came up in the wrong time. It's unfortunate that Atlanta has a guy who's, a talented player, but it's just he's just drowning at his position because it's so deep.
Yeah, and they have Lou Williams, though. I forgot about him. He got hurt last year.
He is, and he's starting the year hurt.
Oh, is he?
He's still hurt, yeah. I don't think he's going to come back until, I heard that they're, optimistic that it's before the All-Star game. So that puts me in a position where it's he's going to miss some time, if that's how they're wording it.
Yeah, that's not good. How do you feel about Schroeder? Is he about to be your favorite player, the mini Rondo?
No, I'm not watching any of these. I live here. I'm not watching these teams. No, I'm not doing it.
That's why they invented League Pass.
Exactly. I'm watching my Pistons, and I'm watching other great matchups. I'm not turning on the Atlanta Hawks. I'm sorry.
Good thinking.
As much as DeMar Carroll really churns my butter, I'm not turning that on. But
yeah, this is bleak. Enough talking about the Hawks.
Yeah, fair enough. Although, can we agree that Al Horford, the word underrated is thrown around a stupid amount. But Al Horford truly underrated?
That's tough. I feel like in the general public, easily underrated. But I think so many basketball buffs are calling him underrated now that he might be overrated. But that's just in the limited world of us that watch too much NBA basketball.
Yeah.
One of the for some reason everyone thinks the Bulls are going to trade for a power forward, and one of my favorite ideas is him going to the Bulls and teaming back up with Noah from their college days. Who says no to that deal?
Dude, I would, if they can get Horford at all costs, if it involves getting rid of Boozer, do it.
Yeah, I think they would do Boozer to make the money match up, plus in Atlanta would get an expiring deal. So that's big for them. I think they'd give him that European guy that they're storing.
Is it Teratovic or Teletovic or something like that?
Don't ask me. I have no idea. He's a tall white guy. And who's supposed like the best overseas prospect. And then they have their own pick, which would probably suck to the Bulls, or they have the Bobcats pick, which after 2016 is not protected, so it could just be whatever.
Probably still be like a top 3.
Still lottery pick. They've been in the lottery now for the last decade, so
every year of their existence.
So who says no to that deal though? Give them the Bobcats pick, give them Boozer, and who else? You said the foreign guy?
The foreign dude. I'm trying to find his name. Chicago Bulls. It is. Still don't know. Foreign guy. I believe his name is Foreign L Guy.
Maybe Jimmy Butler to sweeten the deal.
I don't think they part ways with Jimmy Butler. I think they love Jimmy Butler down there.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think they do, but if the only person who would say no to my original deal would be Atlanta, because Horford's on a good deal. That's a steal what they're getting from him. So that's the only issue. It's Nikola Mirotic.
Mirotic.
That's his name.
I think I was saying I think Teletovic or Teratovic or whatever. I think that's another dude.
That's that's a player. That sounded familiar.
That's way too real sounding and to be a made up name.
Yeah.
But I don't know with the Hawks. I don't know. That's another one of those teams where you're just kind of stretching. A lot of things have to go right for them to make the playoffs.
Yeah, them and the Celtics I could easily see falling into that bottom category pretty quick into the season.
Yeah. But all right. Do you have someone that you're settled on? Teams that you're 3 that are going to steal those from those 5 candidates between the Pistons, the Cavs, the Wizards, the Celtics, and the Hawks. 3 of them got to make the playoffs. Who are your 3?
Oh man, put me on the spot. Do you want all three, or are we going back and forth?
We go all three. If you're
All
not
right.
ready, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I'm born ready.
Pistons.
But yeah, I agree. We can both
All
say
right.
Pistons.
Now comes the interesting part.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I'm gonna say the Pistons are closer to surpassing the Knicks than they are to missing the playoffs.
I could see
In
that.
my opinion, I think if Anthony or Chandler miss a chunk of games, which
Chandler
can't predict
easily could.
injuries, but
Yeah.
but Chandler could. The Pistons could fight for it. They could fight with them.
Yeah, and the Pistons' ceiling is extremely high. I mean,
Yes.
Drummond's been beasting it up in the preseason. Again, doesn't matter, but it's encouraging. And
But when it's our team, or when it's my team,
right,
of course you can cite preseason success.
yeah, I think he's already better than Dwight Howard. So that's a good sign. That's just an objective viewpoint
Yeah.
on Drummond.
Pistons are in. Agreed on that.
And then actually, I wasn't sure going into our conversation who I'd pick, but I think since we both kind of relegated the Hawks and the Celtics to being in that bottom group, I think I'm going to go Cavs and Wizards just default. I'm starting to see why people are picking the Bucks now as a possible playoff team.
Yeah, because these teams are bad. Did we just make a huge mistake?
We
With
might
the
have,
Bucks.
but I'm going to go, assuming that there are not outrageous injuries, I'm going to go Cavs and Wizards, which would make the Eastern playoffs so fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if Cavs were the 8 seed. Oh, God. And Heat were the 1 seed.
Oh, yeah. Basically, though, whoever you're fighting for that 8th spot, you're just fighting who gets that free first-round sweep against the Heat,
Yeah.
basically. Who's going to get 2 extra home games to make some cash. And that's about it. But I have Washington. I like Washington. I love their defense. I like Bradley Beal and Wall in that backcourt.
Mhm.
I think they'll do it. Another thing about Washington is they play in a real shitty division. Washington is going to be able to play Charlotte and Orlando and the Hawks on the
3 or
red,
4 times each.
and then the Heat, of course. But
Yeah.
what are you going to do? But my third team. What if I just pulled it? What if I just said Bucks? I was like, screw you, Drew.
Yeah. Just setting me up
Bucks.
for that this whole time. Just to show it in my face.
I almost do. Now that we're at the end of this, I want to say the Bucks, but I'm not going to because that's Bush League. So I'm actually gonna go with Cleveland.
So we picked the same teams, huh?
Oh no, wait, did you say Cleveland?
Yeah. Cleveland and
I'm
Wizards.
sorry, no, I did not say Cleveland. I said Hawks. I went with Hawks,
Oh,
and
God.
this is why I went with Hawks. I'm not proud, so I got Pistons, Washington, Hawks. The reason I have the Hawks is the same thing. They have that. Is I'm looking at division. You got the Cavs. They have to play the Bulls, the Pacers, and the Pistons. All I'm going to put as locks in the playoffs.
Very true. Yeah.
They have to play those guys a lot. The Hawks don't. The Hawks, like I said, they have Washington, Charlotte, Orlando that they get to play. Get some wins out of that. And another thing is they got the Hawks. They made the playoffs last year and they won like 44 games or something. So basically to miss the playoffs, if we're going off last year, will be about 38 wins, 38, 39 wins. So they would have to lose an extra 6 games, whereas the Cavs have to win an extra like 16 games. That's a big jump.
Yeah. I mean, when you put it that way, they lose Josh Smith, but they add Millsap. Not a huge drop off.
You don't say that.
Huh?
Josh Smith is good. You don't say that.
Oh, I mean, in terms of production,
Yeah.
obviously Josh
Nah,
Smith is
you're
10
right.
times more talented.
Yeah,
But
of course. You should see what he's doing in the preseason.
anything?
No, I just wanted to cite the preseason.
Oh,
Something phony like the preseason. But yeah, that was my kind of like,
that makes
I
sense.
don't know. I took the gamblers route and I kind of looked at the schedule.
I think the Hawks might be trying to tank it, though. I don't feel comfortable picking them. We'll
That
know
could
if
be
they
a good
trade
point.
Horford.
Yeah. If Horford goes, you can go ahead and flush them down the toilet and replace them with my favorite team, the Bucks, who I never doubted once.
The Bucks. God. And the
I'm
Bucks
gonna
are in the
slice together
Pistons
all the
division,
good
right?
things. The what?
The Bucks are in the Pistons division, right?
They are, yeah.
So add even more, kind of talent to that division. That's the worst team, them and the Cavs.
Yeah, what were we thinking, dude? The Bucks are going to be better than those teams.
No, you cannot convince me. I won't let you.
All right. All right. But like I said from the beginning, Pistons, Wizards, Bucks. Bucks. They're in. I'm a Bucks guy.
And they're going to take down the Heat in the first round.
Yep.
Golden State Warriors style.
Yeah. We don't need Ellis. Yeah, I said we. We don't need Ellis. We don't need Jennings. We just need more size. We just needed more 6'10" dudes. But, all right, so I guess that's our spots. That's our 5 we guaranteed out. We got our 5 teams that are definitely going to make it, and we each had our 3.
Yep.
So that's that. That's the first ever You Should Think This podcast.
That's a good one.
What were we, about 20 minutes? No, I think we went about an hour and a half, but
we might have gone a little over the 20-minute mark.
Yeah, we originally thought this was going to be 20 minutes. Oh, well.
We spent half of that on the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yeah. Yeah, and we didn't even mention how fat Jason Richardson is now.
That's true.
We could have spent another 5 minutes on the fact that Jason Richardson looks like the guy who ate Jason Richardson.
He also looks a lot like Zach Randolph, which is not a compliment, you know?
Yeah, that's weird because they both went to state and now they're big fatzos.
Yeah, and they both look like Shrek.
Damn it. Oh, well. Well, that is the first You Should Think This podcast. Thanks, Drew. We'll probably do it again sometime, I'm thinking.
For sure, man. Nothing better than talking about the NBA.
All right. Sounds good, buddy. I'll see you.
Take care.
And then we just hit stop.